Hi, how are you doing again today? I would like to say set the high, because today we'll be talking about more Somali history. Yo, I'm really been interested in Somali people, but I'm really interested in my brothers and sisters that are in Somalia. And so today I'll be talking about these ancient African gods, the Somali god. Now, before Islam, came into East Africa and, actually even uh, came and existed, more so strongly in the Middle East. Even they had different gods that they believed in before, Allah and stuff. The Somali people were a monotheistic belief, or they believed in like just one God, which monotheistic means. Sorry, I said it wrong earlier. Monotheistic means that you believe in one God or like one high power, even though there might be like some deities under it. So definitely, with the set of deities that they had under the one deity, the Somalis believed in a god called Waaq, and I hope I'm saying that right. Waaq. I would like to say it's Waaq, or better known as Eebe or Waaq, but I just like to go with Waaq because Waaq is a lot more easier for me to remember if I'm even saying it right, but I'm pretty sure it's Waaq. Now, with Waaq was like the supreme, highest being. He was God. He was, obviously a sky god, like most gods are, and he was part of the Somali culture for a very long time. Very ancient god. Now, in this, when the Somalis believed in Waaq, and a lot still do, but a lot of them are also Islamic now or believe in Islam. But they had an equilibrium within, with under Waaq. So the equilibrium or the duality, which is everything in the universe, like yin and yang, right? So the duality was like it was the cow and the bull, right? So the universe was like said to be balanced on the bull's horns. He had like big, huge horns, and the bull and the universe were basically like synonymous, or sort of like a metaphor, or the bull was like a metaphor. The bull would be looking into the cow's eyes, right? So man and woman. And when the bull would look into the cow's eyes, the cow, was basically tied right in front of him. So there was a pole. So there was a cow and a bull. And basically, whenever the cow turned away from the bull, that's when bad things would happen on Earth. So basically, it's like a metaphor, that the bull and the cow. And so whenever the cow would turn away and like look away, that means that something bad in the world was happening, like natural disasters, physical shifts in the world, just whatever it might have been. That's what was happening when the cow would look away from the bull. So, the religious temples were also dated back like very far, and they're known as and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but they're known as the Taalo. I think it's Taalo. And these were important places where the ceremonies were held and led by the Kalu priest. Hope I'm saying it right. Kalu priest. So definitely, there was also, obviously, like I said, there was one main god, Waaq, and then keys to remember, Waaq was the supreme high being, was God, and like the cow and the bull were the metaphors for the balance in life, and so yeah, that's what that was. So let's talk a little bit about the gods. Waaq, or better known as like Eebo, was an ancient Cushitic sky god, and like I said, he's known as Waaq. According to Somali legend, Waaq lived in the heavens, and wherever the nomads were successfully, praying, and they were successful in praying to Waaq, the rain would basically come, and that would be known as Borwako, or I want to say, if I'm saying it right, Borwako, which meant God's rain, or translate into English as God's rain. So when the nomads were running around and they were going place to place, when they prayed, if it did rain where they needed like vegetation and things like that, that would be called Borwako. Hope I'm saying it right. Borwako, which basically means God's rain. Now also there was angels too as well, and the angels were called Ayanil, Ayanil, in ancient Somalia, and they were known as like good spirits, and they acted as like mediators between gods and humans, and they were said to like be bringers of like luck and blessings and things of that nature. So those were the angels. And next we'll move on to the Her, or the like the Reaper, the bad man, the boogie oogie man, him, or the devil, or whatever you want to call him. There's thousands of names for him, Satan, whatever, Diablo. But Her was like the messenger of death, and he was like came in the form of large bird, which actually was also in Egypt. Horus had a deity that was called a king, and that was the large bird, just like in Somalia, and it was like the similar god. So Somalia and Egypt has a very, very long, big connection, and they had that connection. So the last one is called the Nidar, which is the Punisher. Nidar was like the righter of wrong. He was the if there was something bad happening to somebody, he would be the person that would be the one, or he was the god that was the one that would come and correct things and bring balance. So if somebody was getting treated bad, he would go and like punish the people that were doing it, and he was considered like the champion amongst the people, especially the ones that were getting things done to them badly, because who wants to get things done to them badly, so he basically was just very, very popular, and still is popular till this day in Somalia, and basically there's like quotes that Somalians still say, like, and I'm gonna try to pronounce it as I always try to, and it's like Nidar Baku Hili, which basically translates into Nadar will find and punish you. So that was very interesting to find out as well. So those are like just some of the gods that are under Waaq. I'm sorry, not some of the gods, but some of the other deities that were under Waaq. So Waaq obviously was supreme. Then you had Ayan Now, which, if I'm saying it right, which is the angels. Then you had Her, which is the Reaper, and then you had Nadar, which is the Punisher, right? So that was all for the Somali gods. Now, you also, with the Somali god and then the other deities or other forms of deities like the angels and things like that, you had like the giants and like demons, right? So you had also the giants and the demons. So there was 2 giants and there was a couple of demons. So like the 2 giants that there were was, let's see, the first giant was the Habab Ina Kamas. Then Habad was like a legendary giant. He was like a really big giant. He ruled like half of ancient Somalia, and he was very, very mean, like very, very mean, so mean, and excuse me, and he was defeated and slain by another giant in the south, and because he was just so horrible, like he was just killing people, eating people, doing bad things, right? So that was him. And then, but actually he died and he got killed because of the next giant that I'll talk about. And the next giant that I'll talk about is, and hopefully I said this right once more, is Barar Ina Bargo. Barar Ina Bargo. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but he's the giant from the south. And Barar was a legendary heroic giant, and he was very ancient in Somalia. He was known for like being a good giant, just rule. He was making sure that things were right and always treated people with respect, even though he was a giant, and he could have did the opposite, like his friend did up north, So, he was said to like have ruled with kindness, and he lived in a cave, the Cave of Birds. And he used to wear like a very, very heavy ring around his finger, and basically it was so heavy that no man could lift it. It was like a really heavy. He was a giant, so of course I don't think too many men could lift it, and if they did, it'd probably take a huge group. So and he basically answered like to the suffering people who were like under the rule of the other giant in the north, which is Habad, and he defeated him in battle, and he killed him, and then he united the lands and ushered in like a very, very long time period of peace. So those are the 2 giants that are also within the religion. Then after that, you have this is a hard one. Pre-Asmaris, and there was one who rubs himself with a stick, right? So Kuri, he was a man, and he could transfer himself to a hyena, and he would rub himself with like a magic stick, and at nightfall he would, you know, do whatever he wanted to do. Then you know, during the daytime, he returned to his human state before dawn, you know. So, you know, I'm pretty sure you're sort of kind of familiar with certain things like that. You know, if you're not familiar with that, you know, like werewolves and things like that. So in that same kind of context, like transforming, then coming back. And these are just different demons that I'm talking about now. I forgot to say that. 2 giants, these are now the demons. So then we have the Hegdar, or the Hegdar, one with long ears. And the Hegdar was a female cannibalist. You know, she was a demon that hunted in the Somali forest. She was, you know, always went after victims, you know, like wandering people that were in the forest alone, or lost children. And basically, you know, she was a demon, and she would, you know, eat you, kill you, whatever demons do. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you know what a demon does, or at least we think we know. But you know, she was a very bad demon that would hunt people in the forest and kill them at night and just do all kind of stuff to them. And so that is the list of Somali, or I don't want to say the list, but that is basically a breakdown of the Somali god Waaq, and just different sub-deities under him, and as well as you know, folklore from Waaq in that time period, as far as the giants and demons. They sort of played into the you know, the religious aspect of it, and what people believed and still believe, depending on what part of Somalia you go to. But Islam, you know, obviously was on the rise at the time. You know, after that, you know, and after it spread from the Middle East, it spread to East Africa with the conquering of like Muhammad and his Muhammad Crusades. And then like some people accepted Islam, some people were getting their heads cut off, and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, this was the time period before, and there's actually a lot of Somalis that still believe in Waaq. You know, I don't know if some Somali people will admit it, but it is, and it just is. Know your history, accept it, love it, you know. So also, you can find like a lot of these paintings of the cow and the bull, especially in the duality in the universe and what they mean. You know, you can find that in there's like actually a cave in Somaliland, which is a part of Somalia, in northern Somalia, and it's a cave, and it actually has painting, one of the oldest caves in the world, and it's like from 5,000 to like 10,000 years old, and it has the painting of like the horns of the bulls, and you know, it doesn't have paintings of Waaq, but it has the painting of the bull and the cow, and how the people, like, they were sort of equilibrium, you know, throughout the whole universe. Like, basically, it's like a metaphor for what the universe and like life and stuff. So the bull and the cow, and then also they have paintings of Somali history of when Somalians were domesticating camels and like animals and all kind of just beautiful, crazy, like ancient stuff, you know. So this place is called, I hope I said this right too. It's called Lascal, and it's you know, a cave that has very, very old rock paintings on them, and they're in like the northern part of Somalia, which is Somaliland, which I don't know if Somaliland will ever become its own country, but they're trying to, but that's another story. So in the northern part of Somalia. So yes, that is, I guess, going to wrap it up with the traditional gods of Somalia. Waaq, also known as the land of Punt, and it has been said that a lot of some Egyptian gods actually came from Somalia when the Egyptians would travel, you know, to Somalia, which, like I said, some Somalians are ancient Egyptians, so it just depends on what tribe or clan and where at and time periods. It's not as easy as it sounds, you know, jumping from time period to time period. But in all, at least from what most people would know, and you know, what people would just say, let's classify Egyptians as being another African, you know, in their own self. But the Egyptians would come to, obviously, the land of Punt, which is Somalia, and it was known as God's land. And it's said in like very much comparable. There's things in the Somali language that have the same names as Egyptians, and like the gods and like the words that they say. So a lot of gods actually were not even developed in Egypt until they went to Somalia, which is the land of Punt, and you know, they just loved it so much they called it God's land. And a lot of gods from Egypt actually came out of the land of Punt. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. You know, I know it's a touchy subject sometimes with religion, but I feel like we should all know more of our African gods, and there's nothing wrong with African gods. It's okay. Yo, we're black. We should believe in what we believe in. I'm not telling you to change back from what religion you are, but me, myself, I'm spiritual, so I accept all. I accept everything. You know, I accept everything. I think God is everything. I think it's, even if you say Allah, God, whatever, you know, Buddha, whatever, I think it's all the same. I just think that humans go through time and transcend, you know, the terms and how they went about. But when I talk about African gods, I just don't want anybody to feel like, oh my God, it's an African God. Like, be scared, because I feel like if you feel that way, you know, it's okay to believe what you believe now. But if you feel that way, you truly are mentally a slave. Like, you really, you know, have, you know, fed into, the Arab, you know, conquering of Africa and the European conquering of Africa. And there's nothing wrong with African gods. So I will definitely make more videos about different African gods. There's the best god of Egypt, Horus. There's the Orishas of West Africa. Oh, and also I forgot, the Oromo of Ethiopia also believe in Waaq too. So that's a good thing to know. I didn't know that too. That sort of like, you know, blew my mind. But we will definitely touch more bases on African gods. We need to know more about our people, our history, and we need to, you know, like, have more scientists, especially in Somalia. There needs to be more scientists and like more historians, because we don't want this story twisted, just like a lot of African history has already been twisted, and how bad we are and all this, blah, blah. We don't have a history, blah, blah, this and that. So we need to make sure we preserve it and make sure that we, you know, pass it along to the generations and, like, you know, protect it, you know. So when we talking about different African gods, look at it from a who you were perspective and not who you are today, because at one point your people believed in it, and there's nothing wrong with it, and they're all part of our history, and we should accept them, and you know, a lot of people still believe them anyway, so it is what it is. But you know, definitely. So at the end of the video, I want to say to all my Somali people, yo, I hope that we can keep building, and we're going to keep tackling the Somali community, you know, in history, and as well as all other African history. And you know, to all my people around the world, my African people, like I said, one love. Know thyself. Know who you are. Don't ever just let a people conquer you, and then let generations and generations go, and let you know, this lie just keep being told to you. We have history. We are a people, and we have a very complex society. We still do. And as always, be safe. One love. I'm out. Peace.